Hi there, good noon and welcome to our second session on idioms. So, a lot of us tend to miss out on working on vocabulary. Through these sessions, we try to ensure that you do not make the mistake that the majority makes. CAT is not the only exam that you plan to write. There are a lot of other exams that we need to write. That's why OMETs, other management entrance tests, and I for one would not want you to perform poorly in any of those, and idioms play an important role there. And even otherwise, you don't realize, but you are a global citizen. And as a global citizen, you're going to talk to people around the world. And you already know what idioms are. You've had a part one. Idioms are a group of words that are not interpreted literally. They happen to have a special meaning. And this particular characteristics, this particular trait of idioms can lead to misinterpretation, miscommunication, ambiguities, and in general at times even some hilarious situations when you do not know what it really means. In fact, that reminds me of an incident that happened quite a while ago. So I was in a particular class, a physical, actual offline class years and years ago. I asked a question and one of the students gave the exact answer that was there in my mind. It was so beautiful, so amazing. It's exactly what I wanted to hear. Now, had I been speaking Hindi, I would have said something. Let's not break the suspense. Unfortunately, at that particular moment, I was speaking English. And I looked at that student and said, "Oh, you are after my heart. You are after my heart." And suddenly, there was silence in the class. All the mutterings of all the students died down. They looked at me questioningly. The person that I said to, he was a guy by the way, and he was also like a little embarrassed. He was like, "Kya bol rahe hain ye sir?" As a teacher, I'm not used to pin drop silence in a class, where everybody is looking at you funnily, oddly, weirdly. And I was like, what's happening? So I retraced and I said that, okay, I said you are after my heart. And perhaps they misunderstood it. So what do we mean by you are after my heart? Any guesses? Hi Sonali, Prajwal, any guesses? What do we mean by you are after my heart? In Hindi, the equivalent is, "Oh, आपने तो मेरे मुंह की बात छीन ली." आपने तो मेरे मुंह की बात छीन ली. Now the corresponding English idiom is "you are after my heart," but then people interpreted it literally, and that is why they were looking at me strangely. So I had to explain that, oh, "you are after my heart" means आपने मेरे मुंह की बात छीन ली. It does not mean what you think it means. So I had to correct. So you realize, if you learn idioms, you can go on to avoid all such ambiguities. And then of course, there are plenty of direct questions. Samriddhi, sir, do you know anything about MHCET law? I know a bit. What is it that you want to know? नहीं जी, प्रज्वल जी, दिल चुराना नहीं होता यार, यही गड़बड़ थी, पता है. यही लोगों को लगा कि मतलब आफ्टर माई हार्ट इज मतलब तुमने मेरा दिल चुरा लिया, रातों की नींद उड़ा दी. ना, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है रे. हाँ, so this session will ensure that you at least learn some new idioms and the probability of making such mistakes goes down. So I welcome you to BYJU'S exam prep channel dedicated to your success in the management entrance exams and beyond. My name is Vikrant. I am your personal coach for all things related to English communication and psychological aspects of preparation. And today we plan to go ahead and work on idioms. But before I go ahead, if you've not subscribed to our channel, you know you're missing out on something. So let's dive into our questions. So here is your question number 1 on the screen, and your time starts now. All right, so the time is over. What do we mean by kicking the bucket? To kick the bucket basically means to die. It's an informal idiom, and that is why the answer should be option B. There is another idiom which is related to it, and that is bucket list. Bucket list is a kind of wish list. Bucket list is a list of those things that you want to do before you die. That is a list of things that you want to do before you kick the bucket. The origin is a little gruesome. Remember, there are some people who die by hanging, people who die by suicide. So they'd probably stand on a bucket and then tie a noose and then they kick it and then they finally hang. And from there it has been generalized. Okay. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there is also a movie called Bucket List. I think I watched something similar. Fabulous movie. And there is a particular IIM, I won't tell you which one, otherwise it may break the surprise, where one of the professors, when you join on day one, this is the assignment that you get. You're supposed to write your bucket list. So you can get a head start by doing it today. Samriddhi, I know some word, but your question is actually very specific. But I'm sure as a team we can definitely find out the answer to this. I have jotted it down and I will get back to you on this. Okay, I'll have another session at 12 tomorrow. So even if you're not interested in attending that, just turn up once. I'll see if I can figure out an answer until then. Right, so question number 2 on the screen. What do you think is the answer? Safab, I think Sri and Sonali definitely got it right. The others aren't really exactly participating. What happened? Okay. All right. So let's talk about our second question now. So when you say by the skin of her teeth, it basically, skin of the teeth basically means by extremely narrow margin. Have you ever seen any skin on her teeth? Actually, no. So when you say by the skin of your teeth, or our teeth, one's teeth, you're basically saying that there was nothing left. So extremely narrow margin. Scarcely, and the idea that comes here really close to that is given in option A, which is just barely. So let's choose that as our answer and move on. So yes, absolutely Prajwal, with very little margin, with practically no margin whatsoever. So if I say I escaped the oncoming vehicle by the skin of my teeth, it means that बस बाल भर की दूरी रह गई थी, नहीं तो मैं गया था भाई. So that's safe for you. Okay, question number 3. What's your take? Samruddhi, can you elaborate when you say general category? MS student, what is MS there? No, just in case somebody in the team asks me, I should be in a position to tell them, you know. 5 seconds, guys, 5 seconds. This is easy. Yes, absolutely yes. So when we say point blank, it basically means directly, without any explanation. Or from a really close distance, he was shot point blank. And that is why the correct answer here should be option B, but all of you have gotten it right. And here comes the next one, and your time starts now. Ten seconds. यार आज आपके और मेरे सेशन में लैग थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा चल रहा है, 20-21 सेकेंड. नॉर्मली इट्स अराउंड 15, बट चलिए कोई बात नहीं, लेट्स जस्ट वर्क विद इट. ब्लू इन द फेस. सो इफ यू से समथिंग until you are blue in the face, then it means that you are wasting your efforts because you will get no results. So essentially to talk, if I look at it in isolation, I'd say to talk or argue for a long time to try to persuade someone, but it is useless because they will not do what you want or they will not agree to what you say. So that's basically to do something until you are blue in the face. Now the meaning that comes closest to it is to feel tired of trying continuously. You know, when you do that, you say it repeatedly to somebody but the other person does not do it, you'd eventually be exasperated, frustrated. So tired comes closest to that, and that is why C. You don't scold, and that is why B can be ruled out, but B and C were close. You needed to know the exact meaning in order to get it just right. So B, so option C it is for question number 4. Here is the next one, and your time starts now. All right, so the time is up. If somebody is all talk and no trousers, what does it really stand for? Someone who is all talk and no trousers is somebody who talks and brags about big actions, important things, but does not actually do anything. So somebody who is boastful. In Hindi, we have an idiomatic expression called dhapor shank. Somebody who talks a big game but in reality lacks the substance. So is it unfashionable? No. Insincere? No. Can it be pretentious? Now what is pretentious? Pretentious means attempting to impress others by showing as if you are great, whereas in reality you don't have substance. So if somebody is pretentious, it says that the person only brags, talks a big game, but in reality has no big achievements, and therefore I think this comes pretty close, and thus should be our answer here. So insincere is somebody who is not sincere, somebody who has no genuine intention to do something. Insincere lacks that idea of bragging, talking a big game, although you lack substance. Pretentious does that, and that is why C. Okay. So here trousers is basically a representative or a metaphor of action. Question number 6 on the screen, and your time starts now. Do tell me, have you heard of this idiom earlier in a Brown study? Five seconds. Okay. In a Brown study means the condition of being so lost in solitary thought as to be unaware of your surroundings. You know, you're so deeply lost in your own thoughts that you're not at all aware of what is happening around you. An expression that we use for this is absent-mindedness, but then it's absent-mindedness caused by losing yourself in solitary thought. So the option that comes closest to it is option A, and thus that should be in our answer. So in a Brown study is not a very frequently used idiom around us, at least in India. Although it's a fairly frequent idiom if you look at it internationally, but it's such a nice expression. So the next time around when you want to say that he or she was so lost in her own thoughts that they did not listen to me, use in a Brown study, and that will elevate your language skills to the next level. Yes, Sri, I think the context definitely makes things easier. That is why I've put these in sentences. It will also ensure that you retain it, although there are a couple of questions where I've chosen not to give you sentences today. But then the idea when you work so well ahead from the exams is to teach you, to ensure that you learn more. Sentences help with that. Okay, next one. Question number 7 on your screen, and the time starts. Okay, so the time is up. Let's go ahead and talk about Mad as a Hatter. Some of you may have read Alice in the Wonderland or maybe seen Alice in the Wonderland, and in that movie you have a Mad Hatter. What is the characteristics? What's the defining trait of the Mad Hatter? Is somebody who is insane, somebody who is a little cuckoo up here. So in other words, you can say somebody who is completely crazy, and thus option C. So if you want, you can talk to her now, but let me tell you, she's mad as a hatter, which basically means that she's extremely crazy. So do it at your own risk. It's not about angry or dominating. I think in this context, you could definitely eliminate D and maybe B. It was basically between A and C, where C is the correct representative of the idiom. So you see Prajwal, or you see Sri, sorry, is that context makes it easy, but not always. There are times when the options can be created which are close, and thus there is no substitute for acquiring the knowledge of the meanings of these idioms. So question number 8 on the screen, and the clock is ticking. All right, time is up. So this time around, I have not given you something which can exactly be termed an idiom, but something that's called a phrasal verb. So what exactly is a phrasal verb? In a phrasal verb, you come across a verb, and that verb is usually followed by a preposition. Usually, not always. There are times when you may also have an adverb here, and most of the times it is going to be a two-word combination, okay, a verb and a preposition, or a verb and an adverb. In some cases it can actually be 3-word long. Now phrasal verb, just like an idiom, is also not interpreted literally. The meaning moves really quite far from the verb that is used to create it, and that is why these are also known as a type of idiomatic expressions. Any expression where the interpretation is not literal. So when you say I'll be looking for you at the party, when you say it to somebody, hey, I'll be looking for you at the party, it basically means that, you know, I'll expect you to be there. I hope that you will be there. And that is why the best answer for us here is option D. Idioms may not be very frequent in the CAT, but phrasal verbs do appear as part of reading comprehension, as part of paragraphs, and this is one area, one aspect, one element that you definitely want to become stronger at. So whenever you come across a phrasal verb and you're not sure of the meaning, go to that verb in the dictionary, and within that entry of that verb you'd come across those various phrasal verbs that the verb is a part of. So make sure that you look at those phrasal verbs along with the sentences, and that will make you better at this particular area. Okay, so question number 9, and your time starts now. Okay, so now you notice run over actually happens to have multiple meanings. So there is a meaning that we so very often, so very frequently encounter in our newspapers, right? So run over is to hit someone with a vehicle and drive over them, to hit someone with a vehicle and drive over them, right? So XYZ was run over by a car right outside his house. Okay, then it also happens to have this secondary meaning, and that is to practice what you are going to say in a speech or in a performance, etc. Okay, so in a way rehearse. So here it is being used in that sense of rehearse, and the closest that you get is going to be option B. Okay, and then there is this third very common, very popular meaning of run over as well, which is used around us, and that is to take more time or spend more money that was planned. So if I say, yeah, my meeting ran over, it means that my meeting lasted longer than what I expected. Or if I say my project ran over time or ran over budget, then you know that it ended up taking more time or more money. So these are, so just like words, phrasal verbs can also have multiple meanings. Okay, so see, absolutely, when you say change with the context, just like words. So in fact, this trait, this characteristics of words in English is known as polysemy. Polysemy means the quality of possessing multiple meanings. Phrasal verbs can also have that. Here is the 10th one. This should be easy. All right, so we are done. So when you do something for hours on end, it basically means that you do it for a long time. Okay, so hours on end basically means when you do something for a longish period of time, and the expression that comes closest to you, as all of you have indicated, is A, so we can leave it here. It's definitely not C and D, easy to rule out. B is unrelated. And here is your question number 11, and your time starts now. Another phrasal verb for you. Ten seconds to go, guys. Okay, so I have two answers. They happen to be different. So let's dive into it. So what do we mean when we say something fell through? Fell through basically means to not materialize. Fell through means, I'd say, to come to nothing, or in other words, fail. And that's why the correct answer should be A. Fell down is very close to the literal meaning, you know. You fall down, or the roof fell down, right? So definitely not succeed the context could have helped you eliminate C and D. Definitely C, despite all his efforts. So when you put in a lot of effort, what happens? You achieve success, but because it uses the word despite, we should expect the opposite to happen, fail. And that is why A. That's where I think C and D could be ruled out. Although you could be somebody who thinks in a sinister way. There are times when you put in the efforts to sabotage someone. In that context, it could mean something else, but otherwise, typically, conventionally, you'd stick to A. And here is the next question, another idiom, and the clock is ticking. Oh, hang on. I think I failed to give the options to this question. I probably copied the slide and left the previous one on. So please don't share the options, but can you share the meaning? Can you tell me what it really means? Any guesses what it can, what it means in all likelihood? So ignore the options. They aren't right. I needed to create them. I think Prajwal, I saw that. So that's why I indicated. So can you otherwise share the meaning? How did this really happen? I'm actually surprised. It's okay. To take a break. Okay, Shri, that's one guess. Anybody else? So Shri says to take a break. Just take a shot, yaar. कौन सा negative marking है? मजे ले रहे हैं अपन. देखो, they broke camp at dawn and proceeded. And joins two things which are similar. They proceeded towards the mountains. Take a guess. So yes, now the answers are guessing correctly. So break camp basically means to pack your equipment and tents and resume your journey. So in core, resume your journey. So there is no correct option here. I needed to fix this, but we've at least gone on to learn this. And here is a slightly different way of asking a question. So fill in the blank with the most suitable option. Here is a sentence with a blank, and you are supposed to choose from one of these phrasal verbs. Let's see what you choose. Time's up, and let us see. So after her guests had left, Tanya decided to do something with some homework. So I think in the context we'd say that she decided to do her homework, right? So which option tells us that she decided to do her homework or finish her homework? Catch for with, no such phrasal verb. Catch on with, we again don't have any such phrasal verbs, but you can catch up with something or someone. Cope with, now that will have a different meaning. Cope with is a correct phrasal verb, but then the meaning here is somewhat different, so this can also be ruled out. So the best is C. So when you catch up with something, it basically means that you were lagging behind and you decided to put in some extra effort in order to finish more of it. Or you catch up with someone can have a different meaning. So let's say on a trek, if you manage to catch up with someone during a jog, during a marathon, during a trek, it means that you were lagging behind, but then you moved fast and came right next to that person. And then of course in our day-to-day life, we do call up each other and say, hey, let's catch up over a cup of tea. But in that case, we do not use with. Then that's a different thing. So the best here is catch up, and thus C. Here is your next question. Moving back to idioms, but this time around I am not giving you any sentence that's likely to tax you a little more. Let's see what you do. Prajwal, that is one of the meanings, but then in that meaning we don't use with. Although you can. If you catch up with someone, you can use with. It's okay. Okay. So I have one answer from Sneha. What do you think, Vedant? Sri has also contributed. Okay. Palak, Sonali, Prajwal, everybody is pitching in. That's good to see. So when you do something at the 11th hour, it means that you do it at the last possible moment. So remember at the beginning of this session, I told you that I don't want you to be somebody who misses out on scoring great marks in OMETs because you did not choose to work on vocabulary. So I could also have said that a lot of people postpone working on vocabulary, or they start working on vocabulary at the 11th hour and therefore they fail to do a fabulous job of it. Vocab is a very vast area. You need to start sooner. And here is one more. Yes, Prajwal, absolutely. Catch up can be used with things. Anything that's a project, a process that you were supposed to do but you could not. Okay. So how about this idiom? You snooze, you lose. Sneha, in which one? If you can tell me which idiom bothered you, please share that and I'll definitely help you with it. Don't worry. You talking about this question or the previous question that you had a confusion? 5 seconds. Okay. So we see A. Anything else? C. Okay, so see, you snooze, you lose is an idiom that conveys that, see, if you do not pay attention and do something quickly, someone else will go ahead and do it. You will not be able to do it then. So say you are in college and you have a crush on somebody, but you don't walk up to that person and talk. You don't ask that person out. Somebody else can go ahead and do it. So in that case, you may not have that opportunity, that option anymore. So I can say, you snooze, you lose. I can also give you another example. All of these online sales where you have this limited time or limited supply of goods, you need to take a call straight away. If you don't, somebody else will buy it and then you'd be left hanging, you'd be left high and dry. So which one comes closest to it? Is it do not take it lightly? So are you basically saying take it seriously? No, you're not taking it lightly. You're taking it seriously. It is just that you are plagued by inaction. So it shouldn't be A. Don't be over enthusiastic. In fact, you are under enthusiastic if at all. So B is also ruled out, but do not hesitate. Yeah, that's closer. Do not hesitate is you hesitate, right? You're not able to make up your mind, or maybe you lack courage, whatever. So C is quite close. Let's look at D. Do not be pessimistic. Are you being pessimistic? Is that the reason for your inaction there? Not necessarily so. So D can also be ruled out. So the best one is C. So don't snooze and win. Okay, so when it comes to vocabulary, you snooze, you lose. You don't start early. You're not going to make you're not going to get a lot of marks basically. You're not going to make a great opportunity for yourself then. So that's about the idioms, and here is a thought that I wanted to leave you with. Do not settle for average. Bring your best to the moment, every moment, Then whether it fails or succeeds, at least you gave all you had. You sleep well, and that's what counts. So guys, if you found this session useful, do not forget to show a little love by liking. And once again, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for notifications. If you want to be one of the toppers, these are just some of the people that we helped last year to get a great score. You can join our comprehensive test prep program, which takes care of all the aspects and gives you access to some of the most premier faculty members in the country. And to make it easy, we have a scholarship test on 28th of May. If you're still on the fence, the scholarship test can settle it for you. Okay, and we have this next session, next fabulous session that will be taken by Saral sir, and that's about why you should start your CAT 23 preparation now. In case you're still worried, you're still wondering, I think this session can help you a lot. For more practice, head over to BYJU'S Exam Prep app, where we upload a section quiz every day for you to go through. And we also have this series that helps you practice more questions live with faculty members. It's called 500 Most Expected or Most Important CAT Questions. Make sure that you attend all the sessions of this series and work closely with the faculty members on this channel itself. And in fact, I have the next session for you tomorrow at 12. Okay, so I'll see you there, and make sure that you follow us or subscribe to us or join us at any of these places that you are at. So until I see you next, stay safe, stay focused, stay in touch. It was fabulous interacting with you, and I look forward to meeting you once again soon. Until then, have a great day, have a great time. See you soon.